It's 3:08 in the morning. The house is completely still. No sound, no movement. Just the kind of silence that presses against your chest like a hand that won't let go. I had turned off the lights an hour ago. I was done for the night. Done thinking, done praying, done trying to make sense of everything that had been building inside me for weeks. But I couldn't sleep. And then something happened. Something I didn't expect. Something I wasn't prepared for. I know how that sounds. I know you might be sitting there right now thinking, here we go. Another dramatic opener, another story designed to pull me in. But I need you to stay with me just for a few minutes, because what I'm about to share with you, it's not for everyone. It's for the person who's been waiting, the person who's been circling the same mountain for months, maybe years, wondering why nothing is changing, wondering why every time they take one step forward, something pulls them 3 steps back. If that's you, then I need you to understand something before we go any further. You didn't find this video. This video found you. I genuinely believe that. I've learned to stop dismissing these moments as coincidence. There is no such thing as an accidental encounter with a message that speaks directly into the center of your pain. That's not how the universe works. That's not how God works. So if you're watching this right now, at whatever hour it is, in whatever room you're sitting in, with whatever weight is currently resting on your shoulders, this is your moment. This message was placed in your path on purpose. Now, let me tell you what happened tonight. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, and I had this feeling, not a voice exactly, not a vision, just this deep, unmistakable sense of something pressing on my spirit, like when you're in a crowded room and you suddenly feel someone's eyes on you, and you turn around and sure enough, someone is looking directly at you from across the room. That's what it felt like I was being looked at. And in that stillness, in that strange and heavy quiet, I heard something in my heart, not with my ears, with something deeper than ears, with the part of me that was made before I had a name. And what I heard was this: there is someone tonight who is standing in front of a door, and this is the last door I am opening for them. I sat up in bed when those words landed in me. I actually sat up because I knew, somehow I knew this wasn't about me. This was about someone else, someone who would watch this, someone who needed to hear exactly this, in exactly these words, at exactly this hour. And so here I am at 3 a.m, recording something I didn't plan to record. Because when something moves in your spirit that clearly, you don't argue with it. You don't roll over and go back to sleep. You get up, you show up, you deliver the message. So let me ask you something honest. How long have you been standing outside the door? Think about that for a second, not metaphorically. Think about it literally in your own life. Where is the door? What is behind it? What is behind it? What have you been telling yourself about why you're not ready to walk through it? Because here's what I've come to understand about human beings, about all of us, myself very much included. We have an extraordinary capacity for almost. We are masters of the nearly there. We pray for open doors, and then when the door swings open, we stand in the doorway. We don't walk through, we justify it. We call it wisdom. We call it patience. We call it waiting on the Lord. But sometimes it's not patience. Sometimes it's fear wearing a very convincing costume. And the enemy of your soul is perfectly content to let you stand in doorways. He doesn't need to slam the door in your face. He just needs to keep you from walking through it. He needs to keep you comfortable enough in the in-between that you never commit fully to what's waiting on the other side. And so you linger. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into years. And slowly, quietly, the door begins to close. Not because God is punishing you, not because you've been rejected, but because doors that are not walked through eventually close. That's the nature of doors. That's the nature of seasons. That's the nature of time. And I need you to hear this not as condemnation, but as an alarm. This is the alarm. This moment right now is the alarm going off. I want to tell you about a man I once knew. Not a famous man, not someone you would recognize. Just an ordinary person living an ordinary life who had an extraordinary encounter with God that he almost walked away from. His name isn't important. What's important is his story, because I believe it mirrors something you've been living. He grew up in a family where faith was talked about but not really lived. It was something you did on certain mornings, something you mentioned when things went wrong, but not something that ran through the center of daily life like a river. It was more like a photograph on the wall, present, acknowledged, but not alive. And so he went through his 20s doing what most people do, building, striving, filling his days with enough noise that the deeper questions never had room to breathe. Career, relationships, achievements, the whole architecture of a life designed to look successful from the outside. But at night, in the quiet, there was always something, a hollowness, a restlessness, a low, persistent ache that he couldn't name and couldn't satisfy. He tried everything, more work, more connection, more distraction, and for a while, each thing would quiet the ache, but only for a while. And then one afternoon, in the most unremarkable moment, standing in the middle of a grocery store in the bread aisle of all places, he felt it. The presence. Not frightening, not overwhelming, but unmistakable. Like sunlight entering a room that has been dark for a long time. Quiet, warm, deeply, deeply real. He told me later that he almost dismissed it. He almost picked up his bread, walked to the register, and drove home. He almost filed it under one of those strange moments that you mention to no one because you can't explain it. But he didn't. He stood there in the bread aisle, and he whispered, almost under his breath, barely even a prayer, just 3 words, "I'm here."
Okay.
And everything changed, not all at once, not in a flash of lightning, not with angels. And trumpets, just quietly, steadily, profoundly, like a tide coming in. Something shifted in him that day. Some long locked door inside his chest swung open, and light began to pour in. But here's the part of his story that breaks my heart a little. He waited 7 years to get to that grocery store. 7 years of that ache, 7 years of that hollow feeling, 7 years of almost prayers and half surrenders and standing at the edge of something he couldn't name. 7 years. And I sometimes wonder, when I think about him, what those 7 years cost him, not as judgment, but as a question worth sitting with. What is the waiting cost? Not the patient, faithful waiting that God honors, not the waiting that is rooted in trust and surrender, but the other waiting, the fearful waiting, the proud waiting, the waiting that is really just avoidance with better vocabulary. What does that cost? It costs you years. It costs you peace. It costs you the version of yourself that you were meant to become. It costs you relationships that were meant to flourish, callings that were meant to unfold, a life that was meant to be lived with a fullness that the hollow, aching version of you can only dream of. And here's the truth that I need you to sit with. God is patient. His patience is one of the most extraordinary things about him. It is vast. It is deep. It is beyond anything we can fully comprehend. But his patience does not mean his doors stay open forever. There are seasons. There are windows. There are moments in time when something is made available to you that will not always be available. Not because God stops loving you. He never stops loving you. But because love without invitation eventually becomes grief. He grieves over the people who never walk through. He grieves over the gifts that were prepared and never received, over the destinies that were written and never lived, over the relationships that were designed and never pursued, over the calls that went out and were never answered. And he grieves tenderly, not in anger, not in punishment, just in that profound parental way that you feel when you watch someone you love choose the smaller version of their life when something so much larger was waiting for them. This is what I felt pressed upon my heart tonight, that there is someone watching this who has been offered something. Maybe it's a calling you've been running from. Maybe it's a reconciliation you've been too proud to initiate. Maybe it's a surrender you've been too afraid to make. Maybe it's a step of faith that requires you to let go of something that feels like safety, but is really just a cage you've decorated nicely. Whatever it is, you know what it is. You've known for a while, and the door is open, but this is what I was given to tell you tonight. This is the last time it will be open like this. Now I want to be careful here because I'm not speaking from a place of knowing your life. I don't know your name. I don't know your circumstances. I don't know the specific shape of your struggle or your season, but I know this with everything in me. When God places something on a messenger's heart to deliver, it's not decoration. It's not spiritual poetry meant to sound nice. It's specific. It's targeted. It goes to exactly the person who needs it. And right now that is you. So let me ask you directly. What are you waiting for? Not rhetorically. Actually, what is the thing? What is the specific reason you have given yourself for not walking through? Because I want to look at it with you for a moment. I want to hold it up to the light and examine it honestly. Is it that you don't feel ready? Because I need to tell you something about readiness. Readiness is a feeling, and feelings are not reliable indicators of divine timing. You will never feel fully ready for the things that matter most. Never. The call always comes before the confidence. The door always opens before the preparation feels complete. That is the nature of faith. Faith is not the feeling of readiness. Faith is the act of moving forward in the absence of that feeling. Is it that you've tried before and been disappointed? Because I understand that deeply. When you've opened yourself up to something and it didn't go the way you hoped, when you stepped out and fell, when you trusted and were hurt, the instinct to protect yourself is completely human. But there is a difference between wisdom and armor. Wisdom learns from the fall and walks more carefully. Armor refuses to walk at all. And somewhere in you right now, you know which one you've been wearing. Is it that you don't believe you deserve it? That you've done too much, been too far, fallen too hard, stayed away too long? Because I need to stop everything right here and speak to that directly. You are not too far gone. Say that again to yourself. You are not too far gone. There is no version of your story, no chapter of your life, no accumulation of decisions, no depth of failure that places you beyond the reach of what is waiting for you on the other side of this door. That is not how this works. That is not who God is. He is not standing on the other side of that door with a scorecard. He is standing there with a light on, like a parent who left the porch light burning all night, who fell asleep in the chair by the window, who woke up every time a car passed hoping it was yours, who doesn't care what happened between when you left and when you came back, who only cares that you're standing at the door. That's who is waiting for you, but you have to knock. You have to take the step. You have to choose to walk through, because here is the hard and necessary truth. He will not drag you. He will not force you. He will not override your will to get you where you need to go. He made you with the extraordinary and terrifying gift of free will. And he honors that gift completely, even when watching you use it breaks his heart. The door is open. The light is on. The welcome is real. But the walking through, that is yours to do. And I want to talk about what happens to people who don't walk through, because I think we need to look at it honestly, not to frighten, but to illuminate. I have watched people in my life, people I love deeply, stand at the edge of transformation and choose the familiar instead. Choose the comfortable cage instead of the terrifying open field, and I have watched what that choice does over time. It doesn't stay neutral. It never stays neutral. When you say no to what you're called toward, something quietly hardens inside you, not all at once, slowly, the way a river gradually changes course over years of redirection, until one day you look at it and realize it no longer flows toward the sea. The hunger dims. The whispers grow quieter. The doors stop appearing as often as they once did, and one day you look up and realize that the season has changed, that what was available is no longer available in the same way, and you feel it not as punishment, as loss, as the specific quiet grief of knowing what might have been. I don't want that for you. That is why I'm here at 3 a.m. recording a message I didn't plan to record. Because there is still time. Right now there is still time. The door is open. You're watching this. You're hearing these words. You're feeling something stir in you right now, some recognition, some resonance, some warmth behind your sternum that wasn't there before. This video started. That stirring is real. Don't dismiss it. Don't explain it away. Don't close the laptop and go back to what you were doing before as if nothing happened. Something is happening, and you know it. I want to talk to you for a moment about the version of you that walks through the door, because I think sometimes we're so focused on the fear of what we're leaving behind that we forget to look at what's on the other side. What does the version of you look like? Who said yes? Who took the step? Who surrendered the thing, let go of the pride, made the call, started the journey, walk through the open door, what does their life look like 6 months from now, a year, 5 years? There's a peace there that you haven't known yet, not the peace that comes from everything being easy. The world doesn't suddenly become easy when you walk through. The challenges don't disappear, but something fundamental shifts in how you carry them. You carry them differently. You carry them with a sense of purpose and direction and anchor that makes even the hard things feel different, makes them feel like they're building something instead of just breaking you. There's a clarity there. The fog that has been living in the middle of your chest for as long as you can remember begins to lift. Not all at once, but it lifts. And one morning you wake up and you realize you slept without that weight on you. And you realize you're not walking around bracing for the next thing. You're walking with something, someone. There's a fullness there that all the other things you've been filling yourself with have never been able to give you, because they were never designed to fill this particular space. This space has a very specific shape, and only one thing fits in it, and you already know what that thing is. That version of you exists. They're waiting on the other side of your yes. And I know that yes feels big right now. I know it feels like standing at the edge of something high, looking down and being asked to jump. I know your legs are shaking. I know the voice of fear in your head is louder right now than it's been in a while, because that's what happens when you get close to the moment of decision. Everything inside you that wants to keep you small and safe and familiar gets louder. That's actually a sign that you're in the right place. The enemy doesn't panic when you're far from the door. He only panics when you're close. So if everything in you right now is arguing against this message, if there's a voice telling you this isn't real, this isn't for you, this doesn't apply, you've heard things like this before and nothing happened. Pay very close attention to that voice. Ask yourself honestly, who does that voice serve? Does it serve the version of you that was made for more? Or does it serve the version of you that stays comfortable, stays hidden, stays exactly where you are? Because here's the thing about the enemy. He doesn't show up with a red cape and a pitchfork. He shows up sounding like your own thoughts. He shows up sounding like practicality, like self-protection, like wisdom. He is extraordinarily good at his work, and his primary work in your life right now is to keep you standing in that doorway a little longer. Don't let him. Don't let him steal this moment from you. I want to bring this to a close, but I need to say one more thing first. Maybe the most important thing. There is a specific kind of loneliness that belongs to the person who knows they are called but hasn't yet answered. It's different from ordinary loneliness. It's the loneliness of feeling like you're living a few degrees off from where you're supposed to be, like a compass that's pointing almost north but not quite. And everything you try to build from that slightly off position feels like it's always a little crooked, always a little unstable, always requiring more effort than it should. That loneliness is exhausting, and it's completely unnecessary. The correction is available. The adjustment is waiting. The door is open. And for the person watching this who has been carrying that particular exhaustion, I want you to know that I see it, not me specifically, but the one who pressed this message onto my heart tonight sees it. He saw it long before this video existed. He's been waiting patiently, lovingly, faithfully for this exact moment when these exact words would find you. This is not an accident. This is an appointment. And your response to this moment matters more than you know. So here is what I want to ask of you right now, not tomorrow, not after you think about it for another few weeks. Right now, in this moment, I want you to do something. Whatever the thing is that you've been putting off, whatever the yes is that you've been holding back, whatever the door is that you've been standing in front of but not walking through, I want you to speak to it out loud if you can, in your heart if you must, but speak to it. Say, I'm walking through. Say, I surrender the fear. I surrender the pride. I surrender the story I've been telling myself about why I'm not ready. Say, I believe this door is open for me, and I'm choosing to walk through it today. And then in the comments below this video, I want you to leave something, not just a like, not just a number, but a word or a sentence that represents what you're walking through today. It doesn't have to be specific. It can be one word: surrender. Yes. Open through whatever word captures the movement happening in you right now, because something about naming it matters. something about declaring it in a space where others can witness it, even strangers, even people you'll never meet, carries a weight of commitment that private decisions don't always have. And if this video reached you, if these words did something in your chest tonight, if something shifted even a little, please share it, because someone in your life is standing at a door right now, and they need to hear this too. And you might be the instrument by which this message finds them. That's how these things work. The message travels through people, through one open heart to another, and every share is an act of love towards someone you may not even know is struggling. And if you haven't yet subscribed, I want to ask you to do it in the spirit of this moment, not as a transaction, but as a commitment to keep showing up for yourself, to keep putting yourself in spaces where something real can find you, where you can be reminded of who you are and what you're made for, because the world will spend considerable energy trying to make you forget. This is the last door I'm opening for you. Those words have been sitting in my chest all night, heavy and warm and urgent, and now they've been delivered. What you do with them is the only thing that remains. There will be a morning someday when you will look back at this moment, at this specific night, this specific video, this specific stirring in your chest, and you will know that this was the moment, the hinge, the before and after. I pray that when you look back at it, you are looking back from the other side of the door, from the life that was waiting, from the peace that was promised, from the fullness that was always meant to be yours. The door is open, and you are not too late. Walk through.